Thanks for joining me for this week's mindset video. This week, I want to talk to you a little bit about life interruptions, those inevitable challenges that pop up. Sometimes they're short-term, sometimes they're long-term, but one thing we can depend on is that things will happen. We can get our schedules all perfect in our routines and be sailing along, checking those items off our to-do list, and inevitably, whether someone catches a cold, or whether we have to move, or whether somebody's job changes, something will occur to throw us off track. So how we handle that when it comes up is critical to continuing to have forward momentum and progress and just to not become discouraged. So a huge part of that is just not fooling ourselves into thinking that these things aren't going to happen. If we expect for interruptions to happen and we do a little bit of preparing in advance, then that does go a long way to helping us get through them more smoothly than we would have otherwise, and to, again, just stay positive and to continue making forward progress with teaching our child. There's so many different types of life interruptions that occur. Everything from illnesses to job changes, to moving, to a new baby, to maybe an older child needing more of our help. Maybe you have an older child who's getting ready to start school, and so they're going to need additional time or attention or help with homework. All of these things can get in the way of this schedule and routine that you had laid out as far as preparing your younger child for kindergarten. So there's several things that you can do to help prepare and to help navigate these situations. I kind of, divide them into two different categories of whether this life interruption is a short-term one or whether it's more of a longer-term one. So for the short-term life interruptions, those ones that aren't going to be around forever, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Things like everybody catches a cold, or something's happening at work and you're going to need to work extra for a couple of weeks. Things like that. There's a few things you can do to really help you out. One of them is, none of us like to use screens as a babysitter, but if everyone's sick with a cold and you're going to turn to that TV a little bit more than maybe you previously have or than you would like to, one of the things you can do to prepare in advance is to create a watch list for your child of educational programs that are better than just flipping on any old thing. So go ahead and take some time in advance, or when you run across a program that looks good, add it to the watch list. Have that available for your child so that you know that if you're sick and you need to lay on the couch and you need to turn on that TV as a babysitter for a little while, at least they're watching something that is educational and wholesome and that you feel a little bit better about. So you can get that prepared in advance. Another thing you can do when you're out and about and shopping, you can, these are really inexpensive at places like the dollar store or at the bins in the front of Target. Grab up educational coloring books, games, puzzles, things like that. Preferably keep them hidden so your child hasn't even seen them, and have a little bag or a little bin of those things up in your closet somewhere where you can pull out some games and toys and things that your child has never seen before in an emergency, and that it really goes a long way to keeping them occupied. So again, if you're sick, or if you need to spend a little bit more time on a conference call or at work, that's going to give you that extra time that you need. And it's something that hopefully you can be selective about. You can choose the educational things. You can feel good about the alternative that you're offering your child, instead of just turning on the TV if you choose to do that. Another great thing to have on hand for emergencies and for these times when this comes up is a mommy's helper on call. So if you have a neighbor, a babysitter, your friend, a sister, somebody that you can call when you need that extra help, have them lined up, and that will give you, even if you call them over for 30 minutes or an hour to take a nap if you're sick or to get that conference call done, that can be a huge help. So it's another thing that you can do in advance, is to sort of have that list of people that you can call when things unexpected happen. Now, unfortunately, not every life interruption is short term. Some of them are longer term. Unfortunately, sometimes severe illnesses do happen, or maybe it's a positive thing. Maybe there's a new job, or you're moving, or the new baby, and these are permanent changes. So in these situations and for these life interruptions, sometimes it's a complete reset and a complete change of what worked for us before. And in those situations, it's really more about us as the parent of learning to recognize what's not working for us anymore, and to be willing to throw that out and change it to something new. So you may have to completely shred your to-do list, your schedule, your priorities, and start from scratch as far as saying, okay, well, that worked for me before, but what is going to work for me and my child now in this new phase? Taking some time off, just giving yourself a period of adjustment. You've been rolling along maybe with the lessons and with getting your child ready for kindergarten, and something happens. Go ahead and give yourself a couple of weeks. You don't have to do anything at all. Your child's not going to lose all the ground that they've gained. It is okay to take some time off and to take a break when you need to, and then work back into it slowly. Progress is progress, so it really helps to not get discouraged when these life interruptions happen, and this is where, if you do keep a journal or a photo journal or some kind of record of the progress that your child is making and all of the achievements that you've been getting under your belt, that this is the time to go back and look at that and to see all of that progress and to really focus on that you're moving forward, and no matter how slowly, it's still forward progress. You don't have to check every item off the to-do list every day or every week to really be successful at this. Even slow progress is still progress. So focusing on that positively and not worrying about all of the things that you're not getting to really helps. Don't forget self-care during these times. Our children look to us for that stability, and if we have a positive mindset about all of the life changes and the disruption, then your child will tend to as well, and it'll be a smoother transition for them also. Most of this curriculum is designed to be woven into everyday life, and so that helps too. Learning moments can be very, very simple things. You don't have to sit down and take half an hour to do an activity. You can take 5 minutes while you're riding in the car, or while you're giving your child a bath, or while you're doing the dishes and they're there with you, talking with you, to have a learning moment. And that's that's progress, even if it's not what you intended to do that day. And then creating a routine. So again, maybe you had a routine before and suddenly something has occurred and everything seems disorganized and in chaos. Maybe it's time to sit down and reflect on what the new routine should be and what works now, even if you have to completely change how you did everything before. And having some kind of routine for your child will really help them to adjust to new circumstances and to embrace whatever activity you're involved in at the moment. So routine, obviously, it helps us tremendously. It helps little children even more. So if the old routine is not working, feel free to throw that out the window and sit down and craft a new one that works for you now. So keeping all of these things in mind, staying positive, focusing on the progress that you are making rather than the progress that you're not making, and just really being adaptable to life circumstances and expecting those things to happen, that goes a long way into continuing to make forward progress even during difficult times. And I wish you smooth sailing in the future, but when things pop up, I know that you're capable of navigating those and getting back on track.